That is obviously very good. And
How much was your, what was the throughput, or what was the what, you have any benchmark numbers in your commodity
yeah,
server for the same?
yes, the thing is that before we migrate the database, what the business wants is to complete the nightly process as well as the reporting modules in a span of 6 hours. That is starting 12 midnight to morning 6. And
Okay.
before migration, it was running up to in fact 12 noon. That is almost 12 hours. And right
Okay.
after the migration, it was reduced to 9 hours. But then we had to do such configurations in terms of parallelism, favoring the smart scan. And when we
Yeah.
disabled the indexes, it had an impact on the DML operations of the nightly process. So
Hmm.
DML operation needs index, but reporting doesn't need index. So we had to
Yeah.
make the index invisible and create a log and trigger for the DML ETL process to use the indexes to make index invisible equal to true, and we have to make it false for the other reporting modules. So we have been
Exactly.
seeing
So,
good improvement, and
yeah.
we are still learning. I mean, this is something new to us since 2 to 3 months. We are putting lots of effort to understand what is exactly our Exadata needs, and we do
Yeah.
have platinum support. They are helping with all kind of information we need it. And still more.
Yeah. So any project wherever I have started or wherever I deal with customers, I actually have them start without indexes. Okay.
Oh,
And
okay.
then find out those indexes what is actually required. So now this gives you an opportunity. Now whatever exercise you have been doing all these 2 months, right? Identifying the index, making it invisible, and finding and making it visible. So now you have an idea, or you have a foot map which actually tells what exactly is the right path to get my data and what are the indexes required. So now you have to go and optimize, and actually Oracle is helping you to eliminate your unwanted indexes in Exadata.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
when I
Already
say
we are working
Exadata,
it
for
on it.
the
Yeah.
2.5 terabyte table,
Yeah.
if you had 100 indexes, you may be having around 20 to 30 terabyte of the complete segment sizes for including tables and indexes.
Okay.
Without your indexes, the table may be actually 2.5 terabyte and plus couple of terabytes, 1 or 2 terabyte for the indexes. So you actually save a lot of money for the storage.
Okay. We don't see the storage index is getting used. Can we see through that some execution plan that storage index is being used just to confirm that? I have been trying to see
Yeah.
that index in the plan, the verifying the plan, but I don't see none of my query, to be honest, hitting that storage index so far. Something is missing. I don't know. I'm not sure about it. Is there anything that need to be some additional configuration has to be done? I'm not sure.
No, no additional configuration. So in the practical sessions, in one of the session, we'll be covering why storage index is not getting used.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you
Fine.
will understand why it is not getting used, and how to make use of it.
Oh, fine. All right.
You have to basically make the object hot. So when you say hot, you repeatedly have to your system, right? If you have a dashboard, right, that
Yeah.
dashboard is going to be used by thousands of users. The particular query or the particular segment, what is coming out in the dashboard is called the hot blocks. So once Oracle identifies this hot block, it will automatically do. As I told, storage index is automatic. The decision will be taken by storage server. A DMA cannot influence it, but he can make it happen. Okay, if it is really
Okay.
required.
Fine. Probably we'll talk about
So
it
you have
once
to
we
understand.
have. Yeah.
Yeah, once in the slide, during the course, you have to basically understand what is storage index, and you have to understand when it will be invoked, how Oracle decides that this particular block will be indexed. So those
Is
kind
it
of information is
necessary
really.
to have the unique SQL ID for to get the storage index created, or
No, storage index creation, as I told, you have to make the object hot. So how do you make it? There are some techniques for it.
oh, okay, fine. Okay, we'll talk about this later when we have that
Yes.
session.
Any other
All right.
questions?
Thanks, Kumar.
No, no problem. You can also put in the chat if you have any questions. I can also answer that. So one of the best thing that you will be getting over this training is real-time experiences. Okay, so I will be sharing most of my real-time experiences, and also the trainers also can also share their experience, and I can also help you or guide you to the next level, to take it to the next level. As the previous trainer, previous audience spoke, he had just using Exadata 2 months, and he has started to explore the features in Exadata, and he has several questions why it is not happening, and he's seeing the performance benefit, but he may not know why suddenly the query started running fast. Okay, if the customer says, let's say that the customer is asking, how come it is running fast in Exadata? Do you know how it is running? So as a DMA, we should be able to answer, yes, this query is using Smart Scan. This
Okay.
query is using storage scan. This query is getting optimized because of the storage server. Okay, Exadata is bundled with enormous computing power. Okay, it is bundled with enormous memory, enormous flash. How do you make use of flash? What are the different techniques you can make use of flash? Flash is something which is automatically used. Now I want to control the flash. Now I want to keep my data in the flash. How do you do it? So I've been a part of a project where we were doing OLTP transaction or DWH workloads. So the current month will always sit inside flash cache. And how do we achieve that? Instead of disk, it has to sit in flash cache. So a little configuration on the Exadata where we create a new disk group. The disk group will actually be sitting or created on the flash cache. So that's by default. Exadata comes with data and Rico. Now we created one more disk group called hot disk group or flash disk group that is basically built on not on storage hard disk. It's basically built completely on flash disk. Now how do we do that? And then your codes will run faster, much faster, because everything is sitting in flash. It is not sitting in cache. It is not sitting in storage server. Now, how do we do that? How do we make those configuration or decide? How do we achieve those performance benefits? Okay. So any other questions? Okay, what about DR recovery capability with Exadata? Okay, so I will be giving architectural, during architecture, I'll be explaining how actually you place your DR. Okay, so let's say customer, what is DR? DR is something when there is a disaster, when there is an earthquake, when there is a fire in your data center, how do you have your system up and running? Okay, so the Exadata is not going to sit next to the Exadata what is running now. It has to be situated miles away in a new region, and then when there is a disaster, the database actually takes the application actually reconnects itself to the standby system or called the disaster recovery system. So for an Exadata, you need to have another Exadata which actually does that. Okay. Now customers may buy one Exadata and they may try to configure Exadata, the DR within that Exadata, which is actually not benefiting customer in any case, but they call it as DR. So DR classification itself is completely different. You need to buy two Exadata, which actually exact same configuration or a lower configuration, and then use it. Now, how do you make use of an DR-based Exadata, right? You are having an engineered system. How do you make, or customer has invested money in it, how do you make that efficient? So I'm going to give you tips or use cases. We can run backups. Okay, we can run reporting on the DR system. We can host all the non-production out there. So I'm going to give you some tips during the architectural review. Okay, another question. Is there any limitation of ERP and database on full rack? No, absolutely no limitations to my knowledge. You can consume the entire rack instance. Or if it is e-business suite or SAP, you can consume all of the full rack which is available. You can basically build an entire cluster of rack. Okay, I'm also going to share about how do customers actually re-rack themselves. Okay, today customer bought an Exadata 5 years back. Okay, now customer wants to buy today's new generation Exadata. Now they need a migration expert, or they need an expert guy who actually knows how to assemble both of these Exadatas. Let's assume customer has bought half rack. The rest of the half rack is empty. When I say half rack is RACK. Okay. So how can you bring in the new system and then plug into that empty space, and how do you configure it? And post configuration, how do you actually make use of them? I'm going to give live examples which has happened, which I have worked on several projects where we have done scale outs with different generation of